So we're going to start with the rapid fire round. The first one is, at what age do you want to retire?
Probably never.
How long does it take you to get ready in the mornings?
60 minutes.
Most embarrassing moment of your life?
No idea, pass.
Favorite color?
Black.
What time of day are you most inspired?
Mornings.
How many hours of sleep can you survive on?
5.
Fill in the blank. An upcoming marketing trend is blank.
Generative AI.
The city in which the best kiss of your life happened.
Toronto.
Pick one, Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk.
Musk.
The biggest mistake of your career.
Throwing away my new shoes before I had... No, throwing away my old shoes before I had new ones.
How do you relax?
Gaming.
How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
Max 4.
A habit of yours that you hate.
I know, I'm pretty happy.
The most valuable skill you've learned in life.
Talking.
Your favorite Netflix show.
I think Vikings is on Netflix.
One word description of your leadership style.
Open.
Top priority in your daily schedule.
Workout.
Ideal vacation spot for relaxation.
Somewhere at the beach.
Key factor for maintaining a work-life balance.
Finding something you enjoy outside of your work.
Memorable career milestone.
First time speaking at the RAI Amsterdam.
The last song you've been listening to.
Travis Scott.
The last film that you saw that had a good impression on you.
Oppenheimer.
Okay. All right, well, that's the end of the rapid fire. Now we're going to move on to the longer questions, for which Michael's going to take over.
Cool.
Right, here we are. We have with us Fums Jacobs, Senior Director of Innovation at Media Monks, headquarters in Hilversum. He tells me, though, that he works more out of Amsterdam. And we just heard in the rapid fire question, he prides himself in his talking skill. I think we're gonna test that out for the next 20 minutes or so, get into what he and his company is all about. One thing right off the bat is that we're meeting him at the Total Telecom conference going on here at the RAI. And the natural question is, what the hell are you doing here as a media, or a tech-enabled media company here at the RAI? Now, it's not entirely out of place, but you could explain in more detail. It might be interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that I saw that happening last year, that the type of events that I was speaking at expanded into very different areas. And I think it has to do with the fact that we are a marketing and media and creative agency, but we're very tech focused. And the technologies that I talk about most have impact in every industry. So it doesn't matter if it's virtualization, blockchain, or now, of course, AI. Which we're all at the forefront of. These have, again, effect in every industry. So also in the telecom industry and also in other places that I've been invited to speak about this.
Right. Just researching just what sort of firm Media Monks is. You run across phrases like doing tech-enabled media, or even more interesting, a full funnel media partner. Could you maybe expand on those phrases? Just what sort of firm are you? It's such a sort of multifunction type organization.
Yeah. I think Media Monks on origin was always a production-focused company whenever they started 20 years ago here in the Netherlands. And with the acquisition of Sir Martin Sorrell, when he acquired Media Monks, they set on a new track where they wanted to truly be the full-service agency that a lot of companies were looking for, and being truly able to deliver end-to-end services. And in order to do that, they acquired a lot of other companies, but I guess the big difference from a network of an agency that's normally gets built, we then implement that all into one. So we operate as one brand with one P&L, and therefore we can again truly deliver end-to-end services from strategy to execution. Strategy creative to execution in all countries in the world with local relevance and so forth. And because we work from one P&L, it's so much easier to work together, and that's actually a net benefit for the client eventually.
Oh, okay, yeah, you talked about one P&L. Makes me wonder about the structure. So is the main owner elsewhere, and you're sort of an affiliate in the Netherlands? Is that how it works?
No. So we're truly one company, and we are stock listed in London, but all the acquisitions got implemented into the wider Astral Capital company, and all sit under the Media Monks brand now. So there's no umbrella, so there's no the 35 companies that we acquired, or so, I don't know how many there is now, their brands all ceased to exist and all became Media Monks.
Okay, listed in London, headquarters in Hilversum, is that still correct?
I think officially London because of the stock exchange. But Amsterdam and Hilversum, of course, have a very big presence for us.
Sure. Okay, well, that's just all the pesky ownership detail, but in terms of what you do, and I noticed the phrase digital experiences in your online materials. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I think, like I said, we do end-to-end, and a part of that is definitely how do we engage with consumers and how do we take the consumer relationship to a next level. And the best way, one of the best ways is definitely digital experiences, especially in a world where we move more to virtual. Gaming, of course, is a very big part of that, which I'm personally focused on. We build experiences in those virtual worlds. We build experiences on web, in our own spaces. But again, it's an opportunity to develop a deeper relationship with the consumer, and definitely a big part of what we do, because it's also where the innovation comes in, which makes me very excited.
Okay. Although with apologies, it's a little vague, digital experiences, but I was wondering about examples, and in particular, if I can steer you, you talked about gaming. So could you give an example of a digital experience in gaming? You were particularly into that, you said.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've done most recently, as an example, we launched the global partnership between PUBG, which is one of the biggest games out there, together with KFC. So the
KFC.
KFC. And the cool thing is that why there's a connection there is that whenever you win a game of PUBG, it shows the chicken winner dinner. And that, of course, automatically connects to KFC. So for that, we hosted a launch event in both South Korea and the US, where we brought streamers together, a pro player, creators, and a Colonel Sanders. So we had a Colonel Sanders who streamed together with all the other creators in a type of competition where they had to complete challenges together with the community. It was a lot of fun, and it was a big success in terms of numbers and engagement. And you can truly see when you tap in to this audience in an authentic way, they go through the roof. They're so excited. And it was, again, it was a very awesome thing to experience.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned you did this partnership in particular in South Korea, and that must have been just the opportunity popped up. And we all know South Korea is a big gaming country. I'm wondering why it didn't happen in Japan. You know, you probably know that for Christmas, they go heavily into KFC in Japan, and that just didn't work out this time? No,
PUBG comes from South Korea. So the Krafton, the publisher of PUBG, is South Korean. So that's where we focused on as a market.
Yep, I understand. But in particular, I mean, I mentioned another phrase I got off your side, full funnel media creator. Could you expand on full funnel, what that's supposed to mean?
I think the hardest question to answer is what we do, because it's easier to say what we don't do. And that's what I mean by full funnel, right? So it can start with indeed strategic consultancy on innovation, for example, into what we now see a lot is synthetic studio, as we would like to call it. How do we implement generative AI in a full funnel for a brand when it comes to content, marketing, advertising, and so forth? How do we take that to a next level? And that's, again, that can start very much at the beginning with strategic consultancy focused on generative AI, all the way to actual execution. And I think that's very different. That differentiates us a lot from other competitors out there, is that we can actually execute what we come up with. And that's what we're very proud of.
One thing I think I did see is that you've been named AI Agency of the Year. You've won that award. Now, how that shows can you go into the sort of progress you're making on AI that would already get you that award notification?
Yeah, it was an exciting one for us. I think last year, about a year ago, when of course GPT-3 launched, it was a pivotal moment for us, and we decided internally very quickly, like this is happening, it's here, and we decided to go all in from that moment on. So we brought together a group of like-minded people throughout the company, globally, through an AI task force, and from there we started to see how we could implement AI both within our own company and also what our role externally was going to be. Of course, AI is a very interesting one because it truly disrupts our own industry a lot. And I think we got hit first before any other industry. But our response to that has been very positive. I think for us, it's an ability of a moment that we can take to go even bigger in terms of the work that we do and the good work that we like to do. So like I said, we went all in. We started upscaling our teams internally very quickly. And also came up with solutions on what our place will be in this new market that is full of generative AI. And that, in the end, a year later, resulted in indeed being the first ever AI Agency of the Year, thanks to Adweek. So it was a big moment for us because I've been talking AI a lot, and in the end, it paid off with this beautiful award. And it's just the beginning for us of what we're doing at Media Monks.
Well, you just talked about AI upscaling. That sounds very interesting because that must have been very hard. These days, correct me if I'm wrong, it must be hard to find people just with the qualifications. AI plus media, or maybe you had to give way on one or the other to add to your team.
I think it's more about attitude. I think if you're open and curious and have a certain level of intelligence, of course, that you have the ability to understand these things. It's more about how do you use your current craft that you're already very good at. If you're a designer,
media craft.
Yeah. So indeed, like a designer, an animator, a filmmaker, etc. And how do you utilize these new tools and be open to those tools and be curious to what that can mean for your job? And that's what we said from the beginning to our people. Is like, these are superpowers to you, right? It's like that's what this is. These tools are not here to take over your job because we still need very high skilled people in order to operate these tools. And I strongly believe still that a photographer will get a better picture out of a tool, a generative image tool, than somebody that doesn't know how to make a nice photo, right? So in the end of the day, that's how we are utilizing these tools to truly upskill our people and take our work and our team to a next level.
And you mentioned when we were talking about the good work you like to do, so hopefully you're not going to be into deepfakes and that sort of thing.
No. I think a great example of tech for good that I'm very proud of is Kiki, which is a virtual human powered by AI that we developed for a broadcaster in Japan who needed a solution for emergency broadcast for deaf people in order to broadcast the emergency to them as well. And they couldn't then, of course, find a human on time in order to broadcast that emergency.
They would know the sign language.
Exactly. So the sign language, so what we build is a virtual human that can bring text or sounds to sign language. And automatically then whatever the host is saying, translate that into sign language, in multiple sign languages actually, because there's multiple. And that's an example of, again, making things better for a lot of people out there. And we're now looking at ways to expand the Kiki already into watches to have conversations with people that normally can't have these conversations.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you were just talking about, you mentioned superpowers for new employees that you like to attract. And that moves me into one thing I wanted to talk to you about. Very important in a creative firm such as yours, company culture, of course. And how do you create it? How do you maintain it? How do you deal with these these human beings, which in this particular you can't boss around. They're very fragile things. How do you deal with establishing, maintaining that company culture in the creative firms here?
Yeah. It's crucial, right? Having a positive company culture. I think if I can personally speak on that, what I truly like about Media Monks is that we're still entrepreneurial. We are a 9,000 people big agency in the end of the day, But if you see how quickly we could pivot into what we do now and the vision that we set out in terms of the use of AI, that makes me excited, right? That's still, again, it's bringing together a core team and we just go to work and get stuff done and put it out there. And indeed, by setting out that clear vision quickly, we could also then turn the initial fear that definitely was among our people, turn it into excitement. And I think, again, that's very important to your own point. And like I said, that's still that entrepreneurial mind and mentality that sits within our company is what makes us so excited to work here.
And that fear, that was just hopefully nothing more than what we feel when we go to work at a new place the first time. And nothing more than that, I assume, of course. So.
Yeah, I mean, we can be honest about that. There was definitely fear in the beginning, and people thought, okay, what is this? Like, this is literally doing what I normally do. Fear of AI, and specifically, and indeed fear of that new. But like I said, because we set a vision out very quickly, and we are very strong and saying, hey, no, this is not here to take your job. AI is here to unlock superpowers, right? It's taking over work that you would normally don't like to do, and you can focus on your actual craft. And we still strongly believe in craft. So again, making that strongly known from the start and very fast, I think turned that around into excitement real quick.
Okay, yeah, and along these lines, it brings us to the question of empowerment, which is related to, losing control. And one could say in a creative firm such as this, you can't look over their shoulder. You have to empower them in a certain way, which means that, yeah, you're not completely in control. Or am I wrong? To what extent and how do you empower these very creative employees that you've attracted?
Well, that's a fair point. I think one of the things that we saw in the beginning is that there's so much new generative tools out there, and they're not all safe to use, right? In terms of, hey, like, we don't want our people to upload confidential information from our clients into certain tools because then it's public information, right? But knowing that this was happening, we immediately not only we had a task force on the vision part and on the business part, but also legally. Therefore, we quickly made a task force where they would set out rules of engagements. We would struck partnerships with some tools so that they became safe to use. We launched, for example, Monk GPT, I think within a couple of months of GPT-3, so that we had our own safe environment. Again, it's pretty easy to use that with OpenAI's API, right? But we did that quickly because we knew people wanted to and were already using ChatGPT on their own, which is then not particularly safe. But to your point, we do want to unlock this extra skill and time that these tools bring. So therefore, we quickly again set out the rules of engagement and framework for it, so that they can use it in a safe way. And that's up to us. That's our responsibility to do that. Instead of saying, no, you cannot use the tools and we're going to look over your shoulder if you do. No, we just fully took this opportunity on.
Now, you just mentioned Monk GPT, which really raised my eyebrows. That sounds to me like your firm has developed its own specific large language model.
No. Like I said, it's an OpenAI API, but it runs on our own servers. It's blocked in terms of like whatever we put into it. It doesn't go back to OpenAI's as well. Technically, it does, but stays there for 2 weeks. It's deleted. It's just under the same terms and conditions as your cloud services do as well. So again, then we can safely use it on behalf of our clients and upload confidential information because we know it will never go into the public version of ChatGPT, for example.
Okay. And, not so long ago, we were talking about that great partnership you had with PUBG and KFC in South Korea. And this is one aspect I want to explore about partnerships in general. What are you looking for? How open are you to partnerships? And what's your strategy to, using them in as non-exploitive way as possible to advance, hopefully, both firms or all firms involved objectives?
Yeah. I think partnerships is a big part of our company. We can proudly say that we work with 9 out of the 10 most innovative companies in the world. So yes, all big tech are our clients and partners, and that's two different things, right? So we not only partner with them on new technology, we get our hands on their new technology first so that we can see how we can utilize it for other clients. We also do work on their behalf as well. I think a great example of that is our brand new partnership with NVIDIA, which we launched a couple months ago. which of course NVIDIA is probably the partner of the player in the AI space at the moment. And also there, right? So we work together with them, like how can we service using their technologies and tools, how can we service our clients better and therefore do better work and more sustainable work and more exciting work in the end. So yes, it is amazing to work with all these big tech firms, and that's what keeps us at the forefront of innovation all the time and gives us an edge towards competition, of course, as well. And as an innovation director, again, these are one of the most exciting things that I do on a daily.
Yeah, you mentioned NVIDIA there just prior, or just after talking about you partner with these, what you said, 9 or 10 of the most innovative big companies. Could we have 1 or 2 more examples? Name just a few more names?
Yeah, Google is one of our big partners as well. So we're currently testing a lot of their generative AI tools also in our Google Suite that we use every day. But also with them, like we go together to clients, we look for solutions. They challenge us and, hey, what can you build with this technology? We challenge them like, hey, we would like to see this more or have the ability to expand or build on X, Y, or Z. So yeah, Google is a very exciting one. Meta is another one where we look at advertising. How can we change that? We're currently battling creative fatigue. For example, like how can we switch out ads automatically using generative AI to remain proper conversions. And so again, there's so many fronts that we play with all these major tech players, which again gives us an edge, and it's exciting to work with them all the time.
You just mentioned creative fatigue. Could you go into that? What's that all about? That's these creative people you were talking about?
No, it's more on the advertising part. So when you launch an ad and an audience has seen this particular ad too many times, then there will be a drop off in conversion. So using AI now and generative AI, we can then predict this moment, this little downturn. And before that downturn happens, we can swap out the ad with generative AI. We just develop a new one, or generate a new one, a slightly new one, and automatically switch that ad out so that the conversion keeps at a level that we want it to be and doesn't have that little drop off.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Well, it's you can understand it's almost inevitable as we come to the end to look into the future. And I know it's going to be a lot of AI, although to the degree you don't include AI, because we've talked about it a lot, although it's up to you. Again, what are the trends? What does the future look like to you for content creation and the evolution of technology?
Yes, we cannot not name AI. It's definitely the most biggest driver. But what we've been talking about for the last 2 years now is that we're seeing the transformation of our digital lives. We've all seen digital transformation in general, of course, when we went from an offline world to an online world. And now we're seeing the transformation of our digital lives. Therefore, virtualization, mixed reality, I think our lives will become more intertwined with digital even more and virtual. I am a big advocate for blockchain technology. I truly hope that we go to a world where we live on a blockchain-enabled web instead of having our data and properties, online properties, being controlled by big tech. In combination with AI, I think there's a lot of things that we need to figure out. So yeah, there's a massive shift happening. I think it's maybe even bigger than when we went from an offline to an online world. So that is challenging but exciting at the same time. And yeah, I'm all for it here.
You mentioned blockchain. I wanted to ask you about that. Is blockchain just future, or what, if anything, have you already done in that particular realm of blockchain?
No, we still do a lot of blockchain. When it comes to Media Monks, we work with a lot of big and fashion brands, luxury brands that are still very active in this space. And I think everybody's ramping up when it comes to what is coming. And I think it's a net positive, like I said, right? If you as a consumer buy a digital product, I think it's a net positive when it's then blockchain based, because then you truly own this product instead of how it is now that you pay for access on the internet, right? So I think that's one of the other parts that I'm very excited about, that we do hopefully more and more blockchain work in the future, and that consumers are going to demand this from brands. And we are happy to implement that, of course.
Well, yeah, and again, speaking of the future in terms of target markets that you'd like to get into, don't give away too much of your strategy, but clearly blockchain is one in terms of technology. Can you name target markets, technology, or geographic? Of course, that's another way to look at what you might be looking to expand in the future where you are not now.
No, I think it's not so much geographically. It's indeed more the role that we're playing with our clients. I think we want to move more and more into being a technology partner than just a media partner or a creative partner, because we truly believe that the innovation and new technology will unlock all these things and will empower all these things. And therefore, we're excited to move into that space more and more. And I think we're well suited to have that position as well.
Right, so the last bonus question for you is of a personal kind. What would you be doing in your life if not this?
Interesting question, because this is truly my big passion. So if it wasn't in this exact same form, probably in another form, probably in some sort of media, or my personal media platform. But to give you a left field one, I always wanted to go to the military. So very different. Not saying that I would still do now, or duty has to call, but I'm an enthusiast in a lot of things, and I'm very, very curious for myself. It's one of those, yes.